Coming up next on SSU Live, the Seahawks earned a big victory today in Baltimore, but they also lost star running back Thomas Rawls for the season in the process. We'll break down how the loss impacts the team and discuss other key takeaways from today's action. And we'll go around the NFL and see how the rest of the NFC playoff contenders did and which teams Seattle should be eager to play first. Then we'll talk some Mariners winter meeting action and finish the show tonight talking some sports movies. All this is coming up next on SSU Live. Stay tuned.
Does Rich want to join the show?
We'll go to Rich, our host.
I was expecting a graphic.
Take us away.
Welcome
Rich.
to SSU Live. Glad to have you back with us again. We're going to have a great show tonight. As usual, you can comment along with the show right here on our YouTube page. Joining me, as always, is Abraham DeWeese and Matt Paige. Now, we have a special announcement before we get into the sports action. For the past year, we've operated under the name Seattle Side Up. That name was formed from the idea that no matter what side of the opening coin toss landed, it always favored Seattle. But moving forward, we will now be known simply as the Seattle Sports Union. Dedicated, passionate, and united in our support of Seattle sports. We're still the same SSU you've come to know and love, only with a new name. So, visit us online at Seattle Sports Union for the most dedicated, passionate coverage of all things Seattle sports. That said, it's time to talk some Seahawks football. Abe, Matt, how you feeling today?
Was a little bit under the weather earlier, but got a good dose of some Seattle Seahawks.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Just right.
Awesome. How about you, Matt?
Feeling pretty good.
All right. Well, let me just go through a quick summary for our viewers in case they were under a rock and didn't catch the game. Our awesome Seattle Seahawks continued their winning ways, dominating the Baltimore Ravens 35-6. It was an epic performance by number 3, Russell Wilson, our do-everything quarterback, who is really coming into his own despite his small stature. He played huge. All right, throwing things over to Abe, what was your favorite part of Russell Wilson's performance and the Seahawks in general?
Russell Wilson's performance, my favorite thing, I don't have a favorite thing, Rich. I have 5 favorite things. That's 5 touchdowns, 3 to Doug Baldwin. This kid is on fire. 3 weeks, out of 2 games in 3 weeks, he has scored 5 touchdowns, 293 yards. Average attempt, Rich, 9.1 yards per attempt. He's not just scoring touchdowns. He's not just getting yards. They all count. Explosive plays everywhere.
Yeah, I lots of explosive plays there. Matt, you love a good explosive play. Let's talk a little. What's your take on Russell Wilson's performance today?
I'm continue to be impressed with the kid. Everything about him has always impressed me. He'll go and he'll do something incredible on the field, score a touchdown, run, celebrate with his buddies, then run back immediately to the bench, pull out the what are they, the sponsored Surface or whatever today, pull that out, get right back to what did I see on defense, what can I do, how can I improve, and it's that kind of studying and passion and leadership that I just love. And I also have to throw a shout out. Doug Baldwin, seriously, has been out of his mind. The last 3 games is 8 touchdowns? In the last 3 to 4 games, it's crazy.
Last 4 games, he has 8 touchdowns. Yeah, that's pretty dang good.
That's top tier. That's number 1 wideout number. I mean, that's Megatron numbers. So people saying Mariners or the Seahawks don't have a number 1 wideout. They need to take another look at our wide receiver core. It's very underrated.
I don't know. I thought they were pedestrian, Matt.
Pedestrian.
Run of the mill, pedestrian, absolutely.
Those were 3 pedestrian touchdowns.
Oh, absolutely.
3 very pedestrian touchdowns. Hey guys, my statistics that I want to throw out to you are 1 and 0. 0 sacks, 1 rushing attempt by Russell Wilson. He did everything from the pocket, guys. My favorite moment, the very first touchdown to Tyler Lockett. He's in the pocket. I don't remember what the broadcast said, 4.9 seconds, 4.8 seconds, a long, long, long time. Scans the field, first read, second read, third read, fourth read. He comes back to his fourth read. Tyler Lockett finds him in a gap in the zone. This is a Pro Bowl level play, guys.
Oh yeah.
He absolutely picked apart that secondary of the Ravens. That was awesome.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's easy to say. That's the Ravens, Rich. So he only had one rushing attempt, but part of that's predicated on us jumping all over the Ravens and getting a big lead. We will see more rushing attempts out of him, but you know what? Let me just go for the sake of it was a great day and a great win. It was good to see that he only had to run one time.
Hey, we didn't really jump all over them. We were only up 14-6 at the half. The stomping didn't really happen until late in the third and in the second half. So, I mean, it was a tight game. It was nip and tuck. I'm going to change things to the mistake of the day. I'll tell you what mine is, and I'll let you guys jump in here. My thought was Luke Wilson, like, mistake of the day. Don't drop touchdown passes, dude. I mean, seriously. Like, what a turn of events there. Luke Wilson has a for sure touchdown, wide open, in his breadbasket, just plain out drops it. Very next play, we fumble the ball. And I'm sorry, guys. The guy's name is fading. The I guess the fifth string running back, who's now the starter.
DeWeese Harris.
DeWeese Harris. Yes. Okay. What did you guys think of? Or actually, we'll come to that in a minute.
Yeah.
Matt, what was your thought on the biggest mistake the Seahawks made, or the biggest thing for room for improvement on the day?
I'd have to agree with you on that exact play, unfortunately. But everyone's going to drop a ball. It's going to happen, and I don't really blame the change of fortunes necessarily on Wilson's feet, but Wilson, not Wilson. Overall, in the grand scheme of things, it didn't really matter. It wound up mattering, but like you said, you got to catch those balls. You got one job. One job. You're paid.
Abe, what are your thoughts?
Big mistake of the game is Darrell Bevel yet again getting pass happy. You have Thomas Rawls got injured at the beginning of the game. That's fine. I understand that. You have to change everything up. You got to get DeWeese Harris more runs to be in that early part of that game. You need to get Fred Jackson out of the backfield with little dink and dunk passes.
Screen passes.
We only saw one reception from Fred, and I don't get it. One reception, 4 or 5 runs, not enough. Get Fred Jackson in the game.
What's your take on that, Matt?
I have to agree. Fred Jackson needs to step up. He is the next guy up as far as running backs are concerned until Marshawn comes back. And please come back fast, Marshawn. We really need you now.
We need him by the playoffs. Definitely.
We definitely need him by the playoffs. But, they need to get Fred Jackson. Fred Jackson, when Rawls goes down, the game plan obviously shifts. It definitely does. There's a big change there. There's a dimension we no longer have. But yeah, like Abraham said, you need to get him out there, and his game is like what Robert Turbin did for us. The quick little passes out to the side, get him on the edge, get him out a little bit, in room, and because he can't bowl through the line like Rawls or Lynch can anymore, at least, since he's got so much wear on the tires. But they needed to shift to him. DeWeese Harris is a journeyman who's been around the league a bunch of times, been cut by pretty much everyone, and there's usually a reason for that. And he's not the guy we want to hand the ball to as our next guy up. We want Jackson.
I guess I understand it. Okay, I understand that they wanted to give DeWeese Harris to see what he is today. They handed the ball off 18 times, and that's not what I'm worried about because there's enough runs to go around everybody. What I missed were some of the dink and dunk passes that allows you to stretch the field. Doesn't matter against the Ravens. The Ravens are awful, and we saw that today. But this could matter against teams like. I'm going to jump in, Abe. Running DeWeese Harris is a terrible idea. He was terrible on the day. 2.3 yards per carry. I don't know if that's because he's bad, or if just the Ravens stacked their line and Darrell Bevel did the smart thing. Oh, you're going to stack the line against our crappy running back? Okay, I'm going to throw it over your head to my 2 awesome receivers who are the 2, other than Russell Wilson, are the 2 best players on the field. Isn't one of the tenets of football? Isn't one of the tenets of football to get your best players the ball? After Thomas Rawls is off the field, who's the next best offensive player for the Seahawks other than Russell Wilson? Tyler Lockett.
Tyler Lockett. Who after him?
Doug Baldwin.
Doug Baldwin.
No.
How far down?
Not
Yeah,
Doug Baldwin?
Yeah,
Doug Baldwin's way better than Jackson is.
Can you catch 8 touchdowns in 4 games?
How many
Abe?
touchdowns? Abe, how many touchdowns?
Okay, I know the.
No.
I've
How many touchdowns?
already told you that. I told
Eight
you, okay,
touchdowns. He's
I told
obviously
you
an
twice.
explosive player.
3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns. But my point is, we know what Baldwin can do. I need to see Fred Jackson get involved. He is the next man up.
He is. He
Fred
needs to be
Jackson
the
rushed 7 times for 15 yards. That's 2.1 yards per carry. The Ravens weren't going to let them run after Rawls went out. Rawls was explosive, was dynamic, was running people over. After he went down, the other 2 running backs just don't have that explosivity. They don't have that ability to carry guys for long runs. I agree that we should try to get Jackson involved, but I also saw the Ravens keying on him the whole game. They weren't letting him get swing passes. They weren't letting him get screen passes. They weren't letting him get involved. They basically said, go ahead, beat us with those wide receivers. And so I guess Russell Wilson obliged. I mean, and that's basically what happened a couple weeks ago against Pittsburgh, right? Didn't Pittsburgh basically say, we're going to stack the line and make you beat us through the air?
Understood.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, I understand why teams are doing it. I just think at this point it's kind of a losing strategy because the receiving core is kind of proven that they can carry a team, they can carry the game. Wouldn't you say that?
These are leading questions now. We'll not answer them.
Oh, okay, fine. I guess we are in the SSU court of law.
Abraham takes the Fifth Amendment.
I plead the 5th.
You plead the 5th. Okay.
Because I don't know what you saw, but I saw Fred Jackson was available, but he was on the bench, and I didn't see him covered when he was on the field for those dink and dunk little slant passes.
That's true.
I think they went to Harris too much, too early, too quickly. They needed to. They needed to give them, 18
Give Jackson
carries,
a little bit more.
Yes.
18 carries should not have gone. I mean, maybe even split the duties, 10,
You'd
10
go
or
10
whatever,
and 10,
something like that. Split it more. That's all I'm saying.
All right. How about the defense? Let's talk about the defense. We haven't talked about the defense at all. This has been all offense for now, 10 minutes? Let's talk about the defense. Abe, what are your thoughts on the defense?
I like him. I'd vote for him. I'd take him over any other Republican in today's, election.
He drafted him in a fantasy league.
Democrat, Republican, I'll take him. Yeah. Sherman for president?
Yeah, Democrat, Republican, I take Sherman.
Okay.
But no, Sherman had a lockdown game. But you know what? This is a hard team to figure out. I'm talking about the Ravens. The Ravens had played very well up until today, and today they look like a team that gave up. They look like a team with a quarterback that can't, Clausen, that can't make a 15-yard out. He can't. That interception by Richard Sherman was proof of that. He cannot hit the NFL passes. And Clausen was drafted by Carolina way too high. He does not have the skill or the mental makeup to get this done. And I saw a defense that dominated against a crappy quarterback, and that's what you're supposed to do when you're a great defense, and they did it.
Well, you got to remember that we were playing basically a 49er, Santa Clara 49er caliber offense. They're missing their starting quarterback, their number 2 quarterback. We were playing against their number 3 quarterback at Clausen. They're missing their number 1 wideout, their number 2 wideout, their starting running back, and I mean, just like this is a team that their offense is on life support.
18 players on the injury list.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, I expected our defense to perform at the level that they did, and they met expectations, in my opinion.
My one comment is there's not enough pass rush. Period. Like against any team this season, they just haven't gotten enough push up front. They haven't been able to make offensive lines just fearful, shaking in their boots like they were last year or even 2 years ago when they were, of course, really, really dominant. With that being said, I will say this. I think the linebacking core and the defensive backfield really, really have gelled. I know that this offense was crappy. I know that it's Jimmy Clausen, and he was cut by the Bears and signed by the Ravens. So, I mean, that tells you kind of how bad he has been. Mm-hmm. With that being said, these are also NFL caliber players. So I realize that they're bad NFL players, but we're talking, a very, very small difference between the very top team and the very worst team in the NFL as far as overall talent. So they did their job. I really, really liked them. Though I have to call out one guy, number 91, I think it says Marsh.
Marsh,
Okay,
yeah.
look,
Cassius Marsh.
if you jump off sides, you don't point at the other guy and stay off sides. You jump back and point at the other guy and say
Yes.
he drew you off sides.
Yes, you do.
Which
don't-
actually
you
led
don't
to,
stand
I think,
behind
their
him.
first field goal. They then drove down the field. They had a 3 and out, and then he jumps off sides on a punt. I mean, and who jumps off sides on a punt, especially when you're not going for the block? Seriously.
Yeah.
I don't get that. Okay, but that's enough of that. I will say Baltimore, I thought played about as well as they could given their talent, but I will agree that they seems like they gave up. Now I have a question for you guys. Where has the special teams game gone? Like, where are my explosive plays? Where's Tyler Lockett running stuff back? It seems like that part of the Seahawks game is kind of gone by the wayside the last few weeks.
Got 2 words for you. Ricardo Lockett. There is no Ricardo Lockett, and that means the big play on punt coverage are gone.
He's
There
huge.
is- there is
Yeah.
no Ricardo Lockett blocking on punt returns, covering the Gunners. There is no Ricardo Lockett on kickoff returns.
Are you saying he's a second coming of Alex Bannister?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I would say he's an Alex Bannister type. I'd say he's who was that guy with Buffalo for years that constantly won the award?
Tasker, Steve Tasker.
Tasker, yeah.
I say he's more of a Steve Tasker. No disrespect to Alex Bannister, but I think he's a Steve Tasker.
Okay.
Yeah, Ricardo Lockett he's a workhorse. He was key to our entire special teams. He's the best gunner, in my opinion, in the league. You can ask the countless people he's pretty much concussed by hitting milliseconds after they've caught the punt. You know?
And Matt, it's not just that either. It's like also he covers.
Yeah,
Gunners.
he covers, he blocks, he does everything. He is absolutely, he is our best special teams player.
And you're also seeing Rich punters not kick the ball as far, going for hang time, trying to force Tyler Lockett in a fair catch situation. So.
They're afraid of Lockett, yeah.
So thanks for that, guys. I totally agree here. Now, one more thing. We need to kind of move along. Where does this win and loss leave us in their playoff position? Matt, where do we stand with the playoffs if they started today?
If the playoffs started today, we'd be in the 5th seed, and we'd be playing Washington, I believe it is, first round in the playoffs. We'd be winning against Washington in Washington, and then going on to the second round and playing who knows at that point. Probably the first seed Panthers at that point. But we're on pace. We're looking good. We have the Browns next, which should be another easy win, which should knock us up to 9-5. And from there, realistically, the NFC playoff picture is almost locked. It's just a matter of finishing out the season, and that NFC East question mark. That's just, who knows? It could be any of those 3 teams: the Giants, the Redskins, or the Eagles. They're all totally in it.
All right. Abe, let's talk injuries. Thomas Rawls out for the season.
Yep.
Cam Chancellor left early in the first quarter, did not return, questionable.
Yep.
You seen warming up. Apparently, he hurt his tailbone, and appears to be probable or possible for the next game. Shed went out, came back in. So injuries are starting to pile up for the Seahawks. Let's talk about that. What impact do you think that's going to have on the rest of the season and into the playoff picture?
The Cam Chancellor thing's not a big deal. He'll be back. He's on the probable watch. Deshaun Shedd's necessary. We need him back, but he's kind of day to day. The Thomas Rawls injury, utter unmitigated disaster. This could be the undoing of this season. We are looking at a situation where, yes, are we going to take the Browns out next week? Yeah, we're gonna take them out. Get them a nice dinner, and then probably have our way with them in the backseat of the car.
Wow.
That's the Browns.
Hey, now, Abe,
the
this is a family show.
Oh, okay.
So let's tone it down a little bit.
Okay, we're gonna go to Red Robin.
Okay.
We're gonna take him out, and
Okay.
It'll be delightful.
And Johnny Manziel will get a chocolate milkshake and
Okay. Outstanding.
sign a
There-
$100 bill for us. But no, we're going to take out the Browns. That's not going to be a problem. We're going to take out the Rams. The Rams are a disaster right now. And we're going to be in the playoffs. That's not the problem. The problem is not being in the playoffs. The problem is, will Marshawn Lynch be back in time to help us in the playoffs? There is still a possibility that we're not playing the NFC East. There's a possibility we got to take on the Packers or the Vikings in the cold on the frozen tundra. And if we're going to go to the cold, the frozen tundra, and we're not going to have a running game, you can just go ahead and take that signed $100 bill from Johnny Manziel and take me out to Red Robin's. I really like Red Robin's. I wish they were a sponsor.
Yeah, bonsai burgers for everyone. All right, Matt. Any last words on this before we head to break?
I just have to agree with Abe that injury is huge, and please, Marshawn, please come back soon. We really need you. Without you, we are a very one-dimensional team, and it hurts. It really hurts.
All right, so fellas, I'm gonna totally agree with you. The only injury that could have been worse across the board would have been one to Russell Wilson, knocking him out of for the season. That is the only possible injury other than Thomas Rawls that would have been worse. So this has been a great discussion, fellas. We're going to run to break. When we come back, we'll talk NFL. We'll take a look at the rest of the NFC playoff picture, project some playoff match. We're going to get really into the nitty-gritty. So we're going to talk some tiebreakers. We're going to talk what the heck is going on in the NFC East. And we're going to talk what we can do about those dirty Arizona Cardinals. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with SSU Live. Welcome back to SSU Live. I'm Rich Michelson, your host, along with Matt and Abraham. Hey, guys, that was a great first segment. Hey, we're going to do a little sponsored plug here. This segment of the show is brought to you by Five Low Sports. The great folks at Five Low have all of your favorite Seattle Spirit gear and are makers of the original ARM socks. Visit fivelow.com and come see all of their great products. Now, with that being said, thanks to our sponsor, we're going to move on to the NFL playoffs, and specifically the NFC playoffs start in 3 weeks, guys. 3 more weeks of NFL action, and then into January and, well, I guess the last week of December too. But anyway, playoffs, guys. I am so pumped. I am so excited to see where the Seahawks end up. But, man, looking at the NFC right now, the top of the NFC especially, looking kind of brutal. So let's jump right in. Let's start with the dirty Arizona Cardinals, our division rivals, hated foes. They're sitting at 11-2. Abe DeWeese,
Yes.
what do you think about these Cardinals? Can they be beaten? Can we catch them? If we have to go on the road to Arizona, can we beat them?
Can we catch them? No. No. Are you crazy? Can we beat them if we play them there in the playoffs? Without Marshawn Lynch? No. It's not going to happen. What you have right now is you have an 11-2 team that played a terrible game last Thursday against the Vikings. The Vikings played the best they possibly could, came up short, and that's the hallmark of a great team, a heart of a champion, an 11-2 team that wins when they play poorly and other teams play well. This is a team that's unbeatable right now in the current situation. They're the game that we're all looking for, and quite honestly, America's craving, is that Carolina Panther and Arizona Cardinal game. Now, I'm a Seattle sports fan. Do I hope? Do I want? Do I plead to every deity out there that we can get Marshawn Lynch back and change this, change what this could possibly be? Yes, but no, not right now. We can't beat them with today's team. We can't beat them. Not on a neutral field, especially not in their house.
Matt, is he right?
He's right in that, yeah, with the existing roster, as it stands right now, without Rawls and with no Lynch, I don't see us finding a way past them. We won't have a running game to speak of. And it's tough to build a successful passing game without some kind of rushing threat. And yes, our defense is pretty good, but I mean, Carson Palmer is playing the best he ever has in his life, and he looked fantastic against us when he was, in our house earlier this season. I honestly don't think we can have it again in us. Now, that being said, Marshawn's timeline is kind of iffy. No one really is 100% sure. We might have him back for that last game of the season. I hope we do. Will it really impact anything? It probably won't really impact anything at all, because the seeds will probably have already been figured out by then. So the honest truth is that the last game of the season, we probably won't get past them. We'll probably fall.
Guys, am I the only one that sees a silver lining here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you what the silver lining is. I'm looking at the stats right now. Defenses in the NFL, points allowed, the most important statistic of defense, not yardage, not anything else. The Seahawks have a better defense than the Carolina Panthers on a points allowed. They have a way better defense than the Cardinals on points allowed. And they've had a fourth quarter lead in every single game this season.
And blown how many of them?
They've blown 5 of them. Okay. Now that's not good. That's not good. But think about that, guys. How many teams in the NFL can say that they have held the lead in the fourth quarter? And I mean, the Seahawks case, they've held the lead deep into the fourth quarter in all of those games.
Baltimore used to say that.
Baltimore used to say that, I guess. But my point is that lots of the time in the NFL, even great teams, have a mulligan where they get blown off the field. They're 14-2, and they have one of their losses was a 35-6 laugher or whatever. I mean, the Seahawks have been in every game. Their defense has allowed them to stay in every game. I understand Marshawn Lynch is out. Obviously, oh my God, he's a fantastic player, Hall of Fame type player. So you don't replace a Marshawn Lynch. But here's my question: why can't the Seahawks adapt? Why is this season hanging on whether or not an old running back, albeit a great one, comes back and can play in the playoffs?
Because we are rushing offense first. That's what everyone forgets. I know the last couple of weeks we've been pass happy, and Russell Wilson's developing as a passer, and it's wonderful. But primarily, our game is predicated on the run.
I like faith in Bevel. I don't think Bevel's got it in him to adapt.
There's that too. There is also
wow,
that.
Beating that dead horse, Abe. We get it. You don't like the guy.
Hey, I wish he went to BYU and became their coach and ruined that football program.
We don't have anything personally against the guy. I'm sure he's a wonderful person, but he is not up to the task. Let's put it that way. Okay, well then.
So here's my question then. So okay, we're diving down a rabbit hole here that I wasn't expecting to go down. But if you don't have faith in Darrell Bevel, doesn't that mean you don't have any faith in Pete Carroll?
I think
there's no correlation.
I think Pete Carroll
absolutely there's a correlation there.
Where?
I think Pete Carroll has a blind spot when it comes to Darrell Bevel.
Oh, maybe that be the case, but I mean, isn't that the number one job of the head coach is to pick the right coaches around him?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
And Pete
so
Carroll
then, don't
is
you
not
have
the
an
perfect
issue with
coach.
Pete Carroll?
Pete Carroll is not the perfect coach. That's a fact. There is
Okay,
no
well, that's
perfect
true.
coach.
Yeah,
Everybody's got a weakness.
that's
Everybody's
true.
got an
Okay.
Achilles heel, and Darrell Bevel knows how to say the right things to keep his job.
Okay.
That's all it is.
So Darrell Bevel deserves none of the credit for this offensive explosion the Seahawks have had the last 4 weeks.
I wouldn't give him any of it.
Wow, that's a put words in my mouth type scenario. That's
No,
quite befitting a friend of me.
of course,
You've learned
absolutely.
well, young Padawan. But
I
no,
have.
I'm not saying he's absolutely useless and has no ability. Of course he's got ability. Of course he knows how to game plan. The problem is he falls into little traps where he thinks he's smarter than everybody else and does silly things like throw the ball on the 1 yard line during the Super Bowl.
I would
This is
agree
the
with
kind-
that.
There's
He
many
definitely
other
falls into
examples.
that trap. Yeah, absolutely. No, there definitely are weaknesses in Darrell Bevel. I'll tell you something that actually does give me hope, and this is that Russell Wilson is playing the best football of his career without a question. He is dropping back, and his plant foot hits the bottom of that drop, whether it's a 3-step, a 5-step, a 7-step drop. The ball is coming out, or he's buying time and he's keeping his head down the field. Yes, he's knowing he understands that he can run, but he's staying in the pocket these last few weeks. He's trying to let his offensive line do their job, and he's trying to make sure that that ball comes out on time so the receivers know when and where the ball is going to be. He right now is a better quarterback than Carson Palmer.
I would disagree.
They're both playing at a very high level. I wouldn't discount what Carson Palmer means to that team. Maybe I could give you this, Rich. Maybe I could give you that Carson Palmer has a trio of receivers that are much better,
Way better.
than our receivers. Yeah, much better. They are better.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're better. And I mean, we have two guys. We have Curse and Baldwin.
Two guys that are good. Well, no, I'd say Lockett and Baldwin are
No,
better.
no. I mean, we have two guys that are free agent, that were rookie free agents.
okay, yeah.
And you had a third in Kevin Smith, whereas the Cardinals kind of have these higher draft picks as receivers. So
Mm-hmm.
they kind of have like these guys that are seen as better. Okay, so maybe Matt, I'll give you this. They're projected as better than what we have.
No, they are better.
Larry Fitzgerald is a Hall of Famer.
Larry Fitzgerald is a first ballot, unquestioned, absolutely
Yeah,
one of the
absolutely,
greatest receivers
yeah.
of all time. Probably number 2 on the list.
All right.
Then again,
So
they're
guys,
looking-
we're gonna wrap up things on the Arizona. We got to move on and talk about some of the other playoff contenders here, because we could just talk about the Seahawks and Arizona all day. Let's move on to the Packers. The Packers played the Cowboys. Did you guys watch this game?
Caught a little bit of it, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Any thoughts about the Packers?
They're really, really, really good. They had a bit of an identity crisis halfway through the season, but they seem to have righted the ship. And I fear them. I fear them as far as an opponent for the Seahawks because they'd be playing in Lambeau Field in January.
The fortunes of the Packers lie basically on Eddie Lacy's belly. And Eddie Lacy, the guy.
What about James Starks?
the
James
guy-
Starks is good too.
No, Eddie Lacy, he gobbles
Lacy.
up yardage as well as he gobbles up, Red Robin's cheeseburgers. The guy, when he's overweight, which I saw this guy not looking healthy. And then today, he looked a little trimmer. Today. And it's not just the stomach, but it's also the head space to keep yourself, fit and keep yourself going. And if Eddie Lacy is the Eddie Lacy of today, yeah, you're looking at a powerhouse right now.
Yeah, and that receiver crew, Aaron Rodgers is, in my mind, without a doubt, the number 1 quarterback in the NFL right now. I don't care about Tom Brady. I don't care about either of the Mannings. I don't care about your argument for Russell Wilson or Carson Palmer. Aaron Rodgers.
Or Cam Newton?
No,
Matt?
Cam Newton's not even on the list.
What?
As far as a quarterback.
Not even the top 5.
As far as a quarterback, Cam Newton's not in my top 5.
How? What?
Now, as far as an athlete, he's in the top 5.
Oh my God.
But
Okay, Matt, you've gone off the rails. This, like previous years, I'll agree with you, but Cam Newton has shown that he can read a field and pick a defense apart this season. You're you're off your rocker, my
Way
friend.
off base, man.
Sorry. No respect for him. Sorry.
Well, I don't expect you to respect him. I just expect you to accept reality.
Nope.
I mean, the fact of the matter is that guy is a one-man wrecking crew, and he's maximizing all the talent around him, which is the number one
talent?
job.
There is no
What
talent
talent, Rich?
around
There's
him.
no
That's the sad
receivers on
part.
that team. He's
But
throwing
they
to Greg
keep on-
Olsen.
But they keep on scoring touchdowns.
No,
So
I
obviously
know.
there's enough tough talent. But that's the job. Isn't that the job of a quarterback? Is to get the ball to other players,
Agreed. And
distribute it, and he's doing that.
Well, think
That-
about
that's
this.
a quarterback.
Think about this. The Panthers are basically the Seahawks of 2 years ago. You have this indomitable defense, and then you have a quarterback with athletic ability who is distributing the ball in the air to a myriad of candidates. You have a running game behind Jonathan Stewart, by the way, from the University of
Oregon.
There you go, and from the state of Washington.
Yep.
And Jonathan Stewart, who just got injured, by the way, has been powering them similar to what Marshawn Lynch has been doing with the Seahawks.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap this up. Just a couple of things to summarize. The NFC is a mess, and we don't really care about who we play if we have to play someone in the NFC. Is that agreed, guys?
NFC East, you're right.
Yeah, the NFC East. Yeah. Okay.
Not at all.
And then the AFC, basically, it was the Bungles, but they bungled, and their quarterback now has a broken thumb. Andy Dalton is probably out for a couple of weeks, endangering their great playoff run. They actually are the number one seed still in the AFC, ahead of the Patriots. They have the tiebreaker over them.
Oh,
Who comes out of the AFC? Really quickly, guys. We got 30 seconds to wrap this up.
Watch out for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're right now hitting their stride, and you got a Ben Roethlisberger playing out of his mind.
I still have to say, watch out for the Bengals. Like you said, they might have bungled it. They might have, with Andy Dalton being hurt, but I expect him back in time for the playoffs, and I think they've made peace with what they've been, their demons for the last couple of years, and I think they're ready to finally take the next step and actually win a playoff game.
All right, great. Thanks so much for the discussion, guys. I have to agree with Abe. I'm going to go with the dark horse, the Pittsburgh Steelers, to make the playoffs. Now, we are going to be right back after this break. Thanks for watching us here at SSU Live. Welcome back to SSU Live. Once again, I'm your host, Rich Michelson. Joining me, Abe DeWeese, Matt Paige. We're going to shift gears and talk about the other great Seattle sports team, the Seattle Mariners. They're in their off season. Major League Baseball's on hiatus. We just had the big party for the Hot Stove League, the winter meetings for baseball. Oh, yeah. It's a legendary time of the year in baseball where deals get struck. Agents are cutting deals behind the scenes, kind of like a scene out of Jerry Maguire. Matt Paige, you wish you were at the winter meetings last week. Isn't that right?
Every year I wish I was.
Matt Paige, you are our baseball editor, so I want you to lead off a summary of what happened, what's going on with the Mariners. They did a whole bunch of stuff. I couldn't even keep track of all of it.
So last week was an incredibly busy week. We picked up a lot of players. We did a bunch of different trades. We signed a new closer. It was a very successful week for our new GM, Mr. DePoto, Jerry the Trader DePoto, as Abraham has coined the term, his nickname, I guess now.
Trader Jerry.
Trader Jerry, yeah, like Trader.
Hey, that's that's harkening back to Trader Bob and the Seattle Supersonics back in the '90s, isn't it, Abe?
You mean the Oklahoma Thunder Sonics?
No, I mean the Seattle Supersonics.
Yeah, I know.
We will not speak the name. That is the team that shall not be named.
Yeah, that's right. Trader Bob Whitsitt. Bob Whitsitt.
Yeah, Bob Whitsitt. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, sorry to get off topic, Abe. I just had to jump in with that. Hey, go ahead. Keep keep going, Matt.
I'll do a rundown basically of what we acquired. Adam Lind from the Milwaukee Brewers. After we got rid of Trumbo, we needed a new first baseman. Jesus Montero was an in-house option, but wasn't really a palatable choice as far as anchoring that base. So we went out and we got Adam Lind from the Brewers, who absolutely crushes. I believe it's righties. Yeah, he crushes righties. He's a left-handed hitter. He crushes righties. All it cost us was 3 teenager arms, the most experienced of which has only 10 professional innings logged, and he had Tommy John surgery last year. So basically, we gave up 3 guys who will probably never develop. They have, like a 1% chance of developing. So it was a zero cost maneuver, which I love. Also, this has not officially been announced by the club, but it probably will be tomorrow morning. Steve Cishek, formerly of the Marlins and of the Cardinals, St. Louis Cardinals, was signed. Will probably be our closer this coming year. Next 2 years, we signed him for 2 years, $10 million. I think they're finalizing some of the incentives clause, and that's why they're holding off on announcing it for sure. But the big we also had one other deal that picked up Evan Scribner from the Oakland Athletics. He's a reliever who's had some success. He has a little bit of a long ball problem. The hope is that in the Marine Layer here in Safeco Field, the bigger park, he'll do better for us, and that cost us pretty much nothing as well, as far as a very, very low level arm from the farm. And the big trade of the week, though, however, was we acquired Wade Miley, our new starting pitcher, who's probably going to anchor the number 2 or number 3 slot in our rotation. Mm-hmm. And Jonathan Arrow, who's a reliever arm, was acquired from the Red Sox, but it cost us Roenis Elias, sorry, mm-hmm. and Carson Smith, which is really a big blow. Carson Smith was a young arm who's cost controlled for another 5 years, who is a fireballer, who did nothing but succeed at the last year for us, was incredible out of the closing spot. He's going to be great for the Red Sox. That might turn out being known, instead of the Wade Miley trade, it might turn out to be known as the Carson Smith trade in a couple of years. But
gotcha. Okay.
We did need some starting rotation depth, and that got us a better starter than Elias has been for us. Miley will be a little more reliable.
And Carson, what's the last name? Not Carson.
Carson Smith.
And Carson Smith is not projected to be a starter, correct?
Carson Smith is a closer, pretty much.
He's a closer. Okay.
Congratulations.
All right.
You
Abe,
have been selected to take part in our anonymous survey.
All these transactions last 5 minutes, it seems like. But let's jump in, Matt or Abe. You are a passionate passionate Seattle Mariners fan who's been in an abusive relationship for the last 15 years
Yes.
and been beaten down a little bit here. So how are you feeling? It's the winter. Spring is around. Well, it's not around the corner. It's just 3 months off. But how are you feeling?
My intense distaste for Jackie Z has been has been well noted, and anybody who reads our articles on www.seattlesideup.com, now Seattle Sports Union, is aware of this. Now, I never really enjoyed the way he put together a team. I didn't like his choices there. I like that Jerry DiPoto has decided that he's going to come in and clean house. He's got the big old broom, a big old mop, and a lot of elbow grease, and he's taking care of business. Now, am I going to jump in and just be Jerry DiPoto's best friend and run down the street and give him a hug and buy him a beer? No. We got to see what the results are. What are going to be the results? Won't know for a year or two. But the fact that there's only a couple people like Carson Smith, and I hate to agree with Matt about anything, Patrick Littlehan, it seemed like we gave him away for nothing. Didn't maybe need to do that. Maybe we could have got a better player in return. There's a couple of eyebrow raising trades like those, but I am such a big fan that you're bringing in all these new recruits. You got a whole new 40-man roster. You saved the 5 or 6 guys that you're supposed to save. It's gonna be a fresh new day. That's what's needed. Mariners have been reticent to do that for a long time, and it's good to get the old regime out.
And not just that, he also cleared out all the dead wood in terms of player development staff as well, which it was sorely needed.
Yes, there's a lot of behind the scenes. Yeah.
When he was hired a few weeks ago, and when then he went and almost instantly hired a manager, I'll be honest, I was very, very skeptical. But I will say this, that the one thing that I'm very impressed with is that he seems to have a plan in place and seems to have a process.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. This is not just like willy-nilly going with his gut. This is not just signing the big name free agent or whatnot. I like this. A lot of these transactions are high reward, low risk, so that if it goes south, we just cut our losses. It doesn't cost the team a lot. He's not blowing huge chunks of budget like Bill Bavasi or like Jack Z with big name free agents that then don't pan out. I really like a lot of this process. Matt, he's basically rebuilt that outfield, right?
Completely, 100%. Almost, well, other than Seth Smith, which is a great guy to keep.
Well, sure, right, but how much better do you think that the outfield, the outfield defense, is going to be this next year?
Oh, just with the changes he's made, assuming of course you've got Seth Smith rotating with Franklin Gutierrez. Gutierrez covering as the fourth outfielder and taking any coverage duty as far as days off. Martin in center, and you've got Aoki over in right. Just assuming that, you already are about 5 wins positive. It's incredible how poor our defense was last year. It was almost record-setting in how poor our defense was.
So what you're saying is that we're not going to see a plethora of doubles dropping into the alley that should have been caught. Is that right?
Yeah, we're going to see balls that should have been run down, and we're going to see outs.
So what you're saying is that we're not going to see
should be outs
doubles
made.
Dropping into the alley that should have been caught. Now, Abe, you always love a high-scoring baseball game, but I'm sure you'd like to see a few less high-scoring baseball games against the Mariners at Safeco Field.
Yes.
See them taking advantage of that big ballpark.
Right.
Is there a one transaction during this offseason so far that has really just gotten you excited for 2016?
Yes. First of all, let me just throw one thing out there. I'm not a big fan of the fences being moved in about 2 years ago. I would really love to hear if you want something that would just make me fall in love with this, this new GM, is he comes out tomorrow and says, "Hey, we're going to move the fences back about 5 feet." I'd love that too.
I absolutely agree with that. I gotta jump in here. Home field advantage, guys. Home field advantage. Take advantage of your home field advantage. You got a big ballpark. Enjoy it. 5 feet is not going to matter, is it?
Well, don't modify the field to match your team. Modify your team to match your field.
Right,
absolutely.
Right. But I feel
go on.
Oh yeah, I was just going to say, But I feel like, if you do that, if you expand the field out, you got that heavy marine layer. You have Safeco. The mystique of Safeco itself seems to get in people's heads. If you have all that, and then you have a Leonis Martin, you have an upcoming Boog Powell, you have the speed of Seth Smith, you have Gutierrez, who's still average to above average. You have a defense that can just cover that entire ground. It's going to help out your fly ball pitchers, and I like the addition of Leonis Martin. I like the addition of Boog Powell Jr. And I love the addition, or the reacquisition of Gutierrez, because there is depth. DEPTH.
Depth.
I got to jump in and say something else here, guys. We've got guys that can hit the ball out of the park here in Seattle at Safeco Field and don't fear the ballpark. You've got you got Gutierrez, who when healthy is a real true power threat to all fields. You've got oh gosh, I'm having a moment, guys. Our yes, thank you, Nelson Cruz, who can hit the ball. He could pop the ball up and still drive it out of the ballpark, a Jay Buhner. And then we've got our all-star do everything second baseman, who can also pull the ball down that short right field porch. So obviously we've got power. I don't think that's an issue. I'd much rather have an extra 5 feet for our brand new outfield to run down fly balls. So yeah, let's do that. Now, one other thing, guys, I know that we gave up some relief pitching depth. Matt, you were kind of concerned about that, but let me ask this. I mean, the Mariners are in maybe not a full rebuild, but maybe partial rebuild mode at this point.
Retooling is the word.
Retooling. Yeah. Isn't it easier to put together a bullpen on the fly than it is to put together a starting pitching staff on the fly?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find bullpen members. You
can always find bullpen arms, but like finding a good starting pitcher in the trading, like in the trading window, the trade deadline is either going to pay through the nose or you're going to lose out to someone else.
Yeah, my concern with trading Carson Smith was that Wade Miley might not be as good as advertised.
It wasn't a fair trade.
Well, it was a fair trade. It makes sense equally. It is equal,
value
for both sides. Both sides get a win. But my concern is that Wade Miley, we probably could have done a little better. We'll see. He has won 16 games in a season before, and that was for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And our field is bigger than that, and and with the marine layer suppressing home runs potentially, he might just completely be our number 2 guy. He might make as many wins as Felix next year. We don't know. We'll see. That's why they play the games. But, as far as bullpen and relievers go, they're notorious as far as being good one year and bad the next. We went from the number 1 bullpen in the game, 2 years ago to last year having the worst bullpen in the game. I mean, and we didn't change anybody, really any personnel. So relievers are fickle. And what you do is you try and gather the best grouping of them together at spring training and just see what you got. And if you need at spring training, I expect that we're just about done with all our signings. We've got enough people on our 40-man right now, but I think we've filled all our holes. But I would not be surprised if come minor league or come spring training we toss a few minor league invites out to become more relievers that are out there on the market. But as it stands right now, I think we're pretty much done as far as moves for the year.
Well, that's disappointing. I always like a few of the late moves, but I guess spring training does start in about 8 weeks?
Yeah, there's nowhere left to improve. They've got the whole outfield.
There's always room for improvement.
There's room for improvement. In my opinion, I think we could upgrade one more starting rotation spot, but because Paxton makes me nervous.
You're forecasting no big moves.
I don't think there's going to be any big moves. I think if anything, there's going to be another reliever acquired, and that's about
all I ask is that we don't have another Kevin Mitchell trade.
No, there won't be any of those.
Rick, you still don't have that Kevin Mitchell poster I gave you back when?
No, that was burned in effigy after he came to Seattle. Probably the midway through the second year, it was used as a dartboard and then burned in effigy. But that's all right. Hey, We're going to do a really in-depth AL West preview here in a couple of weeks. We're going to have a show. We're going to have a couple of deep segments. We're going to look at what all the other teams are doing. So that, it's been great to talk Mariners baseball. I'm really looking forward to this. I hope this new regime continues things. My one question that still hasn't been answered is, have they reached out to Felix? Have they gotten Felix on their side? That is the key to the future success for the Mariners for the next 5 years, is making sure that the king wants to continue to be the king in Seattle. So hopefully these moves get us back to the playoffs. Finally, it's only been 14 years. No big deal. So it's time for one last break. When we come back, we are not talking Star Wars, but the most anticipated movie, at least in recent times, that is coming out this week, got us to thinking. Find out about what when we get back. Welcome back, Seattle, to the last segment of our SSU show tonight. So, before we get into the last segment, if you like this show, please subscribe to our YouTube channel below and never miss an episode. Now, for those of us that love movies and love sports and have not been living under a rock, you probably know that Star Wars, the next installment, The Force Awakens, opens this Friday, which gave us a great topic for the last segment of the show, which is sports movies. All right, you guys ready? You got your quiver of different sports movies? I've got a bunch of questions for you. You guys ready?
I'm ready. I even got my New York Knights t-shirt from
yeah.
the movie The Natural.
Nice. Okay, so thinking back, guys, what was the most anticipated sports movie that you can remember? Matt, we're going to throw it to you.
I don't really have an answer to that one, to be honest.
Wait, anticipated?
I didn't anticipate really many that came out, to be honest. A lot of the best ones were made before I was really old enough to really go to the theater by myself or whatever to see them. But yeah, I don't really have an most anticipated one, unfortunately. I'm sorry, I fail. I lose. 0 points for Matt.
You lose 0 points. You are the weakest link.
Okay.
Abe, what was your most anticipated?
Adam
what was your
Sandler's The Waterboy.
The Waterboy.
I was
Okay.
super excited to go see this movie to watch the trailer for Phantom Menace. And it's too bad that this movie was actually better than the Phantom Menace.
Oh, it was way better.
I had a lot more excitement and enjoyment out of watching Adam Sandler and him tackling Colonel Sanders.
Yeah, that's right.
Very nice, very nice. I'll tell you the most anticipated sports movie that I ever saw was Major League, which was R-rated, and I think I was maybe 10 years old, and I snuck into the theater to go see it, and it did not disappoint. It was awesome. It was early Charlie Sheen at his best.
Oh yeah.
with just one of those
haircut.
great quirky characters over
Wild Thing.
Wild Thing.
So you try to get people to call you Wild Thing for the next year?
No, I didn't have any I did not have any delusions of grandeur.
You didn't have any friends? Is that what you're saying?
No, I was his friend
Not
growing
either.
up, and
Yeah.
I would definitely not call him Wild Thing.
Okay.
Oh, definitely not.
No.
All right, guys. So let's talk overrated sports movies.
Oh.
Matt, Paige, what do you got? What are your top one or two overrated sports movies?
Overrated sports movies. That's a tough one. I'm going to have to say, and people are going to hate me. You're going to absolutely hate me. But I'm going to have to say overrated Rudy.
Ooh.
Good story. That last scene, of course, you know which scene I'm talking about with all the players coming into the locker room. There's no person alive who can't at least shed a little bit of a tear or feel soft watching it. But I still think it's held up as one of the greatest movies of all time. It's on some people's greatest movie of all time list, and I don't think it deserves to be there.
All right, I can respect that. How about you, Abe? Overrated sports movies.
Any Given Sunday.
Yeah.
It was okay. There was nothing immensely. There's nothing wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
There is this idea that that what you see here is what you see in the NFL on Westwood One Sports, but it's not. It's movie. It's got acting. It's got great actors. It has a good story, but it's not the NFL. It's not an Academy Award nominee, and it was, but I don't think it is. There wasn't anything about it that just made me walk out of the movie theater and said, "Hey, I learned something and it changed my life." It didn't. It was just a story. It was well done, but it's just a story.
I will say this for my overrated movie is actually one of my favorite movies too, which is Remember the Titans, which I think is your popcorn coming of age sports movie, feel good about everything kind of a show. It's based on real life, so that makes it a little bit better.
Is that the Michael Orr story?
No. That's the Blind Side. No, this one's about.
That's right.
Yeah, Remember the Titans about a high school football team in 1970, first year of integration at their high school. It's a brand new high school, white players, black players, and there's a Hall of Fame coach that gets demoted to the defensive coordinator job. Denzel Washington plays that black head coach. He's like, I have 6 plays in my offensive playbook. That's all we do. It's like Novocaine. You keep on giving it to them until it works. Anyway,
You remember a lot for a movie you don't seem to like that much.
I like it a lot. Actually, it's actually one of my favorite sports movies. It's just that I also think it's overrated. Because I remember when it came out, it was just like all of this hype. It was like it's the greatest sports movie ever. And
I guess I forgot about the Titans. I don't remember this movie at all.
Yeah, I never saw it, unfortunately.
well, it's a good show. It's worth watching. It's just not. It's not a natural. It's not a Bull Durham. It's not even a major league.
Okay.
And it's definitely. From a funny perspective, it's not like a Necessary Roughness, for example.
Or Major League 3, Back to the Minors.
Major League. Yeah, right.
Starring Scott Bakula, also
Yeah.
from Necessary Roughness.
I'll tell you what, if it's not Eddie George running off tackle, I'm not sure I'm not interested in the Titans. So
Steve McNair throwing it to him.
Frank Wycheck. Frank
and
Wycheck on a.
yeah. And it's not even like it's definitely not a Raging Bull, with Robert De Niro. So
Great movie. Love that.
let's see here. Bob's sending us a message. Our technical director and producer, Bob, says the best sports movie is The Replacements because the chicks dig scars. Any thoughts on that, guys?
Was a good rendition of I Will Survive.
Bob gets to say that, and I can't say we'll take the Cleveland Browns out. All right.
You did not say that you take the Cleveland Browns out. There's quite a
The
bit
Red Robin.
graphic than
Red
that.
We're going to go to Red Robin.
I said to take him to Red Robin. I love Red Robin.
Sure
That's
you
all I
did.
remember.
Okay.
Something about Red
You know,
Robin.
you realize this was
American
being
burger.
recorded, right?
Oh, the NSA would have grabbed me years ago if the.
Yes. All right. Well, what about characters in, your favorite villains in these sports movies? Any character that just rubbed you the wrong way, got you a little bit.
Cancer. Cancer is the biggest villain in sports movies. Brian's Song was a movie about Brian Piccolo and Gale Sayers. And so Brian Piccolo got cancer. Everybody cried, including me. And then he died. And then Gale Sayers, it was the true story of their lives. And like it was like a friendship that just kind of ended way too early. And yeah, to hell with cancer. Don't like him.
I didn't
Not
care.
exactly a character, but all right. Wow, I don't know how to top that. We got way too serious there for a sports show. Hey, good job,
I'm gonna
Matt
say
Paige. What do you got?
I didn't care for Roger Dorn.
Oh, Roger Dorn.
Dorn.
Roger Dorn. He just continuously let me down.
That was
Major League.
That was Major League. Yeah.
Major League. Yes, he had the big contract. He didn't want to field grounders because he made too much money.
What was the owner's name? She was like an analog for Marge Schott. What was her name?
I don't
I
remember.
forget.
The showgirl.
Yeah, she was a showgirl.
She was a showgirl before she
Oh, that's
inherited all
right.
the
That's
money.
right. Yeah.
So not exactly Marge Locke, but more or less.
Pretty much.
Same kind of always threatening to move the team. Definitely didn't like her in Major League.
Well, you weren't supposed to. So actually, she did a good job.
I was going to say, actually, not Robert, Al Pacino's character in Any Given Sunday, I really did not like at all.
Was he the bad guy?
Well, he wasn't a bad guy, but he was
The coach,
He was the
wasn't he?
coach.
he was just he was a he's a dick, first of all. I mean, a real douchebag. But then, right at the end of that movie, I don't know if you remember this. He leaves his team. He leads his team to the playoffs, and then immediately betrays them. Goes to an expansion franchise and steals Jamie
Foxx's character.
In the expansion draft.
Nothing
So,
wrong with that. It's business.
Oh, sure, it's business, but he's still a douchebag. So I just didn't like him. He just rubbed me the wrong way. So. All right, the next question on sports movies. What about a ridiculous sports movie that was supposed to be serious sports movie,
But turned out ridiculous.
but turned out ridiculous?
Minor
yes.
League 3, back to the minors.
Minor League 3.
Major League 3.
Yeah, Major League 3.
Sorry,
Yeah.
back to the minors.
How many times have you seen that, Matt?
At least 4 or 5. More than I really should have. Let me put it that way.
So are you the guy that watches like these crappy sequels and like all the American Pie sequels as well?
No. I'm just a Scott Bakula fan.
Oh, okay.
I'd have to say that Rocky 3
Oh, God.
was when they decided, hey, we're not going to make remember that Oscar-nominated movie? We're not going to do that.
No.
We're going to have Mr. T and Hulk Hogan,
Right.
Thunder Lips, and
You're right.
yeah. This is what we're going to do. And then you know what? Screw it. Next movie, we're going to have Russians. Movie after that, yeah, it just gets worse.
Does The Running Man count as a sports movie? Because he's participating in a sporting event.
Ooh.
Ooh, yes. But that was a good movie.
That was a damn good movie.
Yeah, based off of a Stephen King.
They should redo it, but with Arnold still being Arnold.
Yeah, that's true. I was going to say quick comment on Sylvester Stallone. I think he's got this unique thing that of having been the star of 2 franchises, where the first 2 movies were excellent, and then from there on they were all crap in both in the Rocky series and the Rambo series.
Yeah. Well, we don't know what would have happened with Cobra. Cobra could have been.
Ooh, that's true.
That was a sports movie too. That was arm wrestling.
You don't even need to see the second Rambo. The first one's the only one worth watching.
Yeah, but I mean, we got like Rambo 3, Rambo 4, Rambo 5, Rambo
Okay.
26,
Rambo
right?
3,
It's like a
got
Final
the
Fantasy,
bow and- no,
like the
Rambo-
Final Fantasy video games at this point, right?
Rambo 2, he got the bow and arrow. It was already ridiculous, okay? Rambo
How
1.
how about the Karate Kid? We've got a viewer who's jumping in here. How about the Karate Kid?
Which one? The one with Will Smith's son in it?
How about any of them?
How about any of them? Well, the first one, we know this. We know that Ralph Macchio, Danielson, was
a
an
dick.
instigator.
He was an instigator, and he was actually the bad guy in that movie.
He was the bad guy in the movie. And we know this for a fact.
Yep.
The Cobra Kai, no. Rich. Cobra Kai, the guy and his girlfriend were having an argument. And what does Danielson do? He runs up and starts picking a fight. Of course he's going to get stomped.
He's walking into their territory.
That's none of his business.
It has-
If they have
So
a
what you're
It's a
saying is
misinterpreted
also
movie. It's been poorly misinterpreted the entire existence of its existence.
So after Danielson gets beat down, he comes back for more and tries to steal the girlfriend after they already made up.
the next thing you're going to tell me is that the rebellion got what it deserved when it blew up, when Alderaan got blown up by the Death Star.
No, I'm going to tell you about Die Hard and how there's this plucky German businessman who was just trying to get some money, and there's this asshole who keeps interfering with the police and his own operation, climbing through the air ducts and blocking things. It's a movie about Hans Gruber. All right, it's not about that other jerk in the who walks through glass for no reason.
That is true. It is kind of silly that he walks through glass.
Because
Abe,
Hans Gruber is the
Abe,
title
you
character.
have this.
He
You have
died
this.
hard.
Abe, you have this look on your face like this discussion has completely gone off the rails.
No. I was thinking about Cliffhanger and how how Stallone did nothing but try to stop John Lithgow from doing what actually Lithgow had. He had a lot of reason to do what he was doing. He's a dissident. He's a political dissident. And then some guy who climbs a mountain decides to jump on a helicopter, blow that up for no reason, and then abscond with all the bearer bonds. Come on, Sylvester Stallone, you're better than that.
Yeah. I'm going to just bring it back to characters I didn't like.
Oh, in sports movies. That's
Okay.
right.
Sports
That's
movies.
right.
Yes,
Go
that's
back.
where we were.
Go
'Cause,
back.
Anyway, bringing it back. So just to finish up, Jerry Maguire.
Ugh,
Meh.
Jerry Maguire is a jerk.
terrible movie.
Don't like him. I like Bob Sugar better.
Never seen it.
No idea.
Never seen Jerry Maguire. Oh man.
Oh, no, I think you said Bob Sugar. I don't know what Bob
Oh,
Sugar is.
Bob Sugar is the antagonist of Jerry Maguire. He's the other sports agent. The actually good one, the
Sorry,
one that
that
keeps
movie-
his clients.
That movie kind of bored me.
I
really wasn't that
saw it
interested in
once when it came out, and then I never ever saw it again because it was a bad movie.
It's
Sorry.
worth another watch. It's
Is
worth
it?
another.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It was worse than bad. It was boring. And the ultimate sin in a movie is to be boring.
Really
That
boring.
is true. That is true. All right. With that being said, we've come to the end of another fine show, guys. Thanks so much for your time here. So the Seahawks, just to summarize, the Seahawks are pushing into the playoffs. 3 more games. Should get a couple more victories here. Mariners, hopefully, are getting back on the right track. We'll know more come spring training. We're going to hopefully get some firsthand reports from some of our staff members. Abe,
Yes.
still going to spring training, right?
I'm still going to spring training. You
Okay,
bet.
so we're gonna need some reporting from down there,
Sweet.
and then we can always everyone can agree that really the best sports movie of all time is Caddyshack.
Agreed.
So, with that
Agreed.
being said,
Yes.
please be sure to our wonderful viewers and listeners, people that watch, read what we do on the website. Follow us on Facebook at Seattle Sports Union. Follow us on Twitter at Seattle Sports U. Check us out at seattlesportsunion.com and check out all of our individual Twitter handles. We comment on the different Seattle sports from live during the games. So thanks again, guys. On behalf of Abraham DeWeese and Matt Paige, I'm Rich Michelson signing off.